Hello, I hope you're having a great time at the Reframe Summit. Are you a development sector professional? Have you ever worked with young men and boys? Are you curious to know more about the impact of COVID on programming with young men and boys? If you've nodded yes to any of my questions, or if you just have 10 minutes to kill, you've come to the right place. I'm Avali. I'm a program coordinator working with the Masculinities or the Mardon Wali Baat program at the YP Foundation in India. Our organization works on developing youth leadership on issues of gender justice, sexuality rights, health equity, and inclusive education. Our Masculinities program works with young men and boys to facilitate deeper reflections on masculinities. Recently, as part of a research project we did at YP, we spoke to 17 organizations working with young men and boys in Uttar Pradesh on various issues in order to understand what their experience has been like in navigating through the COVID 19 crisis. I'm here with you today to share 5 learnings from this research. If you're ready, let's jump right in. Number 1. Through our conversations with different organizations, it became evident that COVID's impact has not been the same on all participants in all programs. Participants from marginalized communities, particularly from Dalit communities, Muslim communities, and communities of migrant workers, have faced a bigger brunt of the COVID 19 crisis. Intersections of different marginalizations have been central to people's experiences during this time. As you can tell from this quote here, the reluctance of migrant workers to engage in labor in their villages, the loss of livelihood opportunities specifically for Dalit workers, and the strengthening of Islamophobia in the communities is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the challenges faced by these communities, whether they were program participants or even field workers. According to the organizations working on issues of caste and religion, have always been fraught with tension. This is because even during training, participants from dominant communities have often engaged in verbally abusing or bullying those from marginalized communities, and interventions from session facilitators have not been welcomed as they are often labeled as outsiders, not in touch with the realities of the field. But this stigma and discrimination only strengthened during COVID, and this requires our urgent engagement. Building long lasting relationships with the communities to address this tension and empower them to address these challenges directly is absolutely essential. This could be done by moving away from project based engagement to longer sustained engagement, which would allow organizations to build their presence and position in the communities. So, funders, please take note. Number 2. COVID also had a varied impact on different aspects of the participants' lives. For instance, a lot of participants lost their jobs during the lockdown, which not only impacted them financially, but it also had a severe impact on their mental health and well being. While organizations did report an interest in diversifying their thematic focus in order to address this impact of COVID more holistically, but lack of knowledge, expertise, and perspective on these issues made it difficult for them to do so. Diversifying our work in the future is possible if we cross share our resources and organize cross learning visits to learn from each other's work, gain insights into the work of different organizations happening across geographies and context, and share technical expertise with each other. Number 3. Organizations observed high rate of dropouts in programs across themes of livelihood, education, health, sanitation. As you can see through this quote right here. Shifting priorities of the participants and irregular migration patterns during the lockdown were cited by the organizations as the main reasons behind these dropouts. It is interesting to note that the rate of dropouts in gender related programming were much higher as compared to programs working on other issues. This was because the loss of income and employment had led to a complete deprioritization of masculinities or gender related programming in the lives of the participants. In order to tackle this challenge, there's an absolute need for masculinities or gender related programming to adopt an intersectional lens that recognizes the multiple realities and identities of young men and boys, and to have a collaborative approach with organizations working on issues of health, employment, livelihoods, and education that could address the multidimensional impact of COVID. Number 4. COVID has presented many opportunities for programs to adapt their offline engagement to online models. But internet connectivity, technical issues, and lack of funding has made it harder to sustain these online engagements. In this case, exploring hybrid program modalities that combine online and offline engagements and building sustainable online models through development of low bandwidth apps and websites could be really helpful. At the same time, investing into creating easy to use and easy to share online interactive tools might help since men and boys have more phone and net access in the communities. Number 5. COVID or not, finding and sustaining funding has been a consistent challenge. However, reprioritizing during a disaster impacted gender and norm related programming the most. Extending support to grassroots organizations in taking up complex application processes and ensuring that larger organizations are able to reach where support is most needed is crucial. Effective collaboration in this arena can be really helpful, but is not usually taken up because the sector tends to be more competitive in its approach to funding. We hope this has sparked your interest in undertaking collaborations that address the multiple realities of young men and boys. And we believe that this learning can help programmers build back better from COVID and develop more resilient programs and interventions in the future. If you want to know more about our research and recommendations, you can read these reports on our website. We would like to thank AJWS for supporting this very important project and to Breakthrough for giving us this opportunity to showcase our work. Most of all, we would like to thank our partner organizations in Uttar Pradesh who co-created this map for future programming with us. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day at the summit.